we saw this old man, totally white, alright, squatting by the toilet bowl, looking at him.
Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
For those of you who know me, I appear a lot in social media. My story is that I've been involved with drugs since I was 13, life with gangs, in and out of prison until about 6 years ago. Personally, I don't believe in ghosts. All right, I don't. But I do believe that in this world there are demons and evil spirits, probably posing as ghosts, just to give people a very hard time. The first encounter I ever remembered was when I was, let's see, probably about 3 or 4 years old. So for us, every few months, we take a trip up to KL, take the bus from, I think it was Golden Mile or something, or Johor Road. I cannot really recall. And then as a young kid, I was so intrigued with the scenery that I always chose to sit by the window. Trips to KL was always fantastic. I remember we always stay at Fortune Hotel. All right, then there was this stand on the outside that serves absolutely the most delectable hot dogs. So there was this once, we were coming back from KL, and if I'm not wrong, after that trip, we had actually stopped going to KL for many years. I think it was like 20, 30 years. So what happened was, on the way back, and that day we were coming back at night, I still remember I was sitting by the window, alright, although it was dark, I was looking out. And then I was looking out, very strangely, I saw something floating right outside my window, okay? It was like gawking at me and just floating. I didn't know what it was, and as a kid, what I did was, Mommy, you see, there's something outside the window. And my mom turned, she looked at it, she got a shock of her life. She quickly grabbed me and pulled me close to her and didn't let me go. And she kept saying, boy don't see. It was only later on in years I found out what that was. It was actually a pocong. Can you imagine that? But because I was a kid, I didn't know what it was. But as an adult, my mom knew. Alright, and my mom knew. Okay, and I guess she was traumatized by the event, so much so that, like I said, for like at least 20, 30 years, we never took a bus to KL anymore. Along my years, I guess when I started taking drugs, I cannot tell you for sure whether it was drugs playing tricks with my mind or it was just me. But I remember once, I think it was 15. Yeah, I think it was 15. A group of friends and I, we went out to Sentosa. Last time there was this musical fountain. Yeah. So, if I'm not wrong, that was the first time I visited Sentosa at night. And being teens of a mischievous nature, of course, I stayed back lah. After the musical fountain was over, we stayed back. We were just chilling out down there. And then you know what I saw? From very, very far away, All right. I mean, fountain was here, and overlooking. When I looked straight, you could see a lot of trees. And those trees were not short shrubs, they were high, tall, very tall trees. What I saw were 2 lights. One was green, one was red. Alright? They were like floating about, fighting each other, messing about. And but the thing was this, initially I thought they were fireflies. Okay? But then I come to think of it, hey dude, fireflies can't be so big, right? And they were very far away and they're high on top of trees. So I guess the question would be, if they weren't fireflies, what could they be? There wasn't any light attractions at Sentosa during the 80s, early 80s or mid 80s, right? So the question is, what could they be? Well, I guess it's for you to find out, not me. The flat is not there anymore, it's been demolished. And I remembered for the 9 years that we lived there, you could, I guess a lot of people face this also. You could always feel a presence in the house. Some say the presence is, a good presence. But most people would say that it's a bad presence. You mentioned about shadows. Right? And I tell you, I've seen it many times. Not only myself, even my mother. All right. It could be any time, no. In the afternoon, at night, in the evenings, and even middle of the night. There's always this shadow passing from like the hall to the toilet and the room area. Just glance over. It's very strange. But there was this one incident that my mom told me that she freaked out. Was that one day she sleeps in the room, I sleep in the hall. All right. One day when the door was ajar, it's always left ajar. So one day when she woke up, she saw this shadow standing by the door. All right. This tall, big shadow, and the shadow is like at least, the height of the door is like 7 foot. If I'm not 7 feet is the standard length. Right? The shadow was, the door and the shadow was standing out just right at the corner, peeping in, looking at her. Dude, if you're sleeping, then you wake up to the sight. I tell you, it's like, oh my God, you freak out. No? Did my mom feel like moving out? Of course she did. But I guess the worst stories are stories that really, on a personal basis, that really freak me out. Okay, I tell you first. I am someone that I don't scare easily. I really am. I don't scare easily. Okay, due to my lifestyle kind of thing, I don't scare easily, even until today. But there were these 2 stories that particularly freaked me out a bit. Okay, the reason being that it happened in prison. Okay, I tell you, there's this old timer. I started going to prison way back in 1992. So one day in our cells, nothing to do, this old timer was telling me a story about the old Changi prison, which I was at for many years. He said, in some cells, okay, in the middle of the night. Okay, so in a cell, when you step in, this cell is about 6 feet by 13 feet. So normally people sleep in a mahjong style, but the door is here. At the corner of this door, there's this height, a ledge, where the toilet is at. So there's a raise. So the style of sleeping is 1 here, 1, 1, 1. Some people said, okay, and it's not one, if it's one person who said it, dude, probably is making this up. But there were many instances where people told me the same thing, when they were sleeping, all right, and then suddenly they feel, in our cells, just to let you know first, oh my God, in the old Changi prison, the cell feels like a bloody sauna. Okay, there's no ventilation like the new CPC. All right, the only air that comes in is a ventilation window right at the top of our high ceiling cell, but it's so covered with cobwebs and rust that nothing comes in. Okay. The only respite from the heat that we get is mostly, below the door there's this, there's this raise. That is the only part that breeze comes in. Okay. So people that sleeps by the door, those are the ones that are, sometimes we long jump past, like we long jump past you, who gets that spot. So I remember this dude was sleeping down there. He told me one day he woke up. He was sleeping, as usual, it's very hot, but suddenly he felt a light breeze. But the breeze wasn't coming in from the bottom of the door. It's coming from the top. Okay? This very light breeze. And it felt very strange, And at night, prison is dark. It's pitch dark and there's no sound. It's very quiet. When he opened his eyes and he turned towards that breeze, my God, he saw this old man, totally white, alright, squatting by the toilet bowl, looking at him, smiling, and fanning him with a paper fan. Whoa! Just imagine this guy. And you know what? He was so freaked out, he didn't dare to scream. He said he so wanted to, but he just didn't dare. You know what he did? He pretended to fall asleep and just turned the other side. Like what I always say, I always like to put myself in that person's shoes. What if that was me? My God, would I like swing a punch or what? I don't know. Alright, but it's instances like this that, wow, it makes you think, it makes you wonder. That story, I have to say, it was only told to me by 2 or 3 inmates. But another one, although it did not happen in Changi prison, I'm sure it did. Because a lot of people swears by it. In Changi prison, it's like single cell, 1 small cell, then 3 to 4 sleeping in a cell. But we had other prisons like Sembawang and Selarang, where it's more a dormitory style kind of prison. 1 dormitory can sleep until the small dormitories 20, some 30, some 40, some up to 50. In the whole MSP, you can sleep up to 100 people in the big dormitories. So I remember I think it happened in either Selarang or Sembawang prison. Okay. And the strange thing is, it only happens during the fasting month. Alright. And I tell you, those who have been in there during the fasting month, they would tell you that I'm not lying. Fasting month to the Muslim, it's a very holy month, I was told that this would bring them closer to God. And as a Christian, I can attest to this that, sometimes when you want to get closer to God, it's always during this time that all these evil forces would come and attack you because they want to pull you away from God, right? And not allow you to become closer. So during the fasting month I cannot remember, Sembawang or Selarang, okay, what would happen is this. Let's say, right? When they're about to sleep, lights off, I think it's at 9 or 10, I cannot remember. When all of a sudden, if people start seeing a shadow, you mentioned shadow, right? Shadow like just glide across the cell, just like zoop. Okay, the shadow would be in the shape of what? A mawas. It's like, a big hairy gorilla. And then when this happens, okay, it's not just the image only, You know what happens to some inmates? It's a dormitory style, so there's a double-decker wooden bed. Just to let you know, we are not provided with mattresses inside there or pillows. Hard wooden beds, planks. Some inmates will start spinning. On the bunks, on the bed, they'll start spinning round and round on their own volition, dude. I mean, if you're sleeping on top, you're sleeping alone, what? Okay, so you're spinning like this. On your own volition, on their own volition, dude. Everyone saw that. Because the guy who is spinning starts screaming, tolong, tolong, tolong. You ask anyone, all those old timers who have been in Sembawang or Selarang prison, they tell you the same thing. It always happens during the fasting month of Ramadan.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.